Hi, podcast listeners. Thanks so much for coming to visit my eco-friendly home today. I'm your host, Madison Hopkins, and I'm so delighted to have you. When you're a guest in my eco-friendly home, I want you to walk away with tangible steps to reduce your home's emissions, live healthier, cleaner, save money, and of course, build community. So come on in and make yourself right at home. Oh, goody, you brought those low-sugar cookies I love, my favorite. On today's episode, we're learning about eco-friendly living through reuse and repurposing of an everyday household item, mascara. Wands for Wildlife is a nonprofit dedicated to repurposing mascara wands to aid in wildlife rehabilitation. Based in North Carolina, the mascara wands are sent from users all around the world and are distributed to a variety of wildlife rehabilitators. The wands are used to help animals who are in need from things like forest fire, debris, disease, or bodily injuries. And speaking on their behalf is Kelly Doctor, a longtime remote volunteer with Wands for Wildlife working out of Massachusetts. Kelly, it's a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much for having us and letting us talk about our mission and our purpose and trying to save the environment as well as helping the animals.
I love that. Yeah, and definitely y'all's efforts to help save the environment is the main reason that I thought y'all would be a good fit for the show, because not every household, not every eco-friendly home has an animal in it, but I do love that we're going to be able to talk so much about animals today.
Yeah, and it's important. We use mascara, and it's important to note that mascara should be changed out every 3 months. So you probably have some mascaras at your house, and if they're over 3 months old, you should really think about what we do and handing them off to us, because bacteria grows in them, and then therefore the bacteria might get in your eyes, could create an eye infection, pink eye. So we want to keep our makeup in general clean and healthy, and with the mascara wands, it's just another way to repurpose them after we're done using them. Instead of just throwing the whole thing in the trash, we have a purpose for them.
So when people send y'all the mascara wand, do you want them to send just the wand, the application part, or do you want the whole tube?
So we love just the application part. We ask that you clean them in soap and water. You can soak them for a while, a couple hours. You can rinse them off with soap and water. You can add a little bit of bleach. We do ask that they're clean and dried before you package them up to us. And if you want to send the whole tube because you may not have the time to clean them, that's fine. We can take care of that too. We do prefer that they come in already just the applicator. But as you'll see a little bit later, we're finding out ways to repurpose mascara wands and the tubes into wand art. So that's another thing that we are venturing into, as well as we're a volunteer run nonprofit, and we're just inspiring people to help wildlife and the environment through repurposing discarded mascara wands. Or even if you get your lash extensions, the spoolies that salons have, those we collect those as well. And so anything like that, even your lip gloss kind of wands too, there's a purpose for them. And we have a sheet explaining what those could be used for as well. So we are just focusing on mascara wands mostly, and especially the spoolies that you would get from a one-time use.
Okay, very cool. So I do want to dive in a little bit as to who you are and your role in Wands for Wildlife, but before we do that, can you tell us more about y'all's mission statement and your three mascots? Because I think it's important that we understand more about what Wands for Wildlife is, and then understand what your role is.
So Wands for Wildlife is a full 501c3 nonprofit, and we're volunteer run. And we have been working in this field for a while with some wildlife refuge centers. And through a viral post a couple of years ago showing some wildlife being cleaned and having these wands used to help wound care and also to clean out fly larvae from little critters that have been found in the woods that may have been abandoned by their moms or due to a disaster or due to a tragedy. Those wands have thin spool bristles on them, and they actually help to really grab any oil or any larvae or any kind of wound care, and they can be a single use. So, and then they can be repurposed again into wand art. But for each one animal that we have, we can use several wands on it to really clean it and do the deep wound care. And so what we are doing this because there's a need, because, you know, toothbrushes are too many bristles and too hard. And some wildlife rehabilitators are trying to find the right tool to use to try to get into the really small spaces of cleaning out either a wound or just general care if they come to a wildlife rehab facility. And so we really found that the variety of wands, the tips, the curves of some of them really work for different types of animals, both mammals and aviary, and as well as different types of wounds. I myself am a volunteer, again, up in Massachusetts, and remotely I'm working on the education aspect of it and trying to work with the others on the team who we're trying to put an education program together. So we would love to build out a packet where we would send a packet of the wands, a little stuffed toy, an informational packet, and put these out to teachers and follow the curriculum, the Common Core curriculum. And I myself am a teacher. I teach second grade here in Massachusetts, so I'm familiar with the science standards and the Common Core. And so we're wrapping our heads around what actually will fit in the Common Core. And we're working on vocabulary and all the stuff that's already provided for educators, and we're just trying to give them a real life experience for the children to experience, and then hopefully that in turn turns them into wanting to be working in the zoos or working in an aquarium or make that their career. So hands-on, kids always learn best, and so I am involved with the educational aspect of it, and also working a little bit in the future on the social media portion of it as well, which we are on all platforms. And it's just been a really fun ride, and to see where we've reached globally, both in wands that have come to us and wands that we have sent out into areas that have needed them, has just been really rewarding. And one thing I do want to say for myself is one person can make a difference, one wand can make a difference, and we are the animals only advocates. So if you are an animal lover, like we all are, where we volunteer, and all the people that are sending us the wands, one wand does make a difference. And we want people to know that. And a lot of times with the wands, we'll get a variety of wands. I have some here, a bag. They're all clean, but you'll see the different colored tips on them.
And so for all you non-mascara users out there listening, mascara wands, go find a friend who does use mascara and ask them about it, because they really just come in, and Kelly's holding up a large bag full of different types. They all have different bristles. Some will, when they advertise, you know, voluminous, it's a thicker bristle that puts on more mascara. Or if you want like really defined eyelashes, it has like longer, finer brushes to try and separate your eyelashes. So the mascara wands all have different shapes. Some are curved, some are flat, some bend more, some are real thick.
I have like the double brush on them.
Yeah, the double brush.
Yeah.
And so Kelly, what you're saying is that y'all use the bristles, and some bristles are better used for other animals.
Yeah, depending on what the need is for the animal. So we also have a reference guide for our wildlife rehabilitators that we have worked with all around the country and the world. Namely, we have officially partnered with the North Carolina Aquarium at Fort Fisher. And we've also, this is so exciting, we have officially partnered with the California Wildlife Rehabilitators Association, and specifically right now the Bird Center of Sonoma County, because the wildfires that hit California, I guess probably a year ago now, probably a little over a year ago, because with the COVID, we don't really hear about those natural disasters as much anymore. But so with the Aviary Center and the Bird Center of Sonoma County, they were getting all kinds of birds that were either, you know, slightly singed or had a lot of soot on them, and they were having problems breathing. And they would take the mascara wands and they would clean out the beginning of their nasal cavities, and they could clean their feathers, and they can get, you know, around their, you know, underneath their beaks, and they can just really clean really well and get that soot out and get them breathing. And so we have, you know, and I'm holding up this little reference sheet, and we have a reference sheet if you're looking and you're a rehabilitator of birds, there's certain wands that work best. If you're with mammals, here's kind of the one with like a lip gloss, like the thin, like spongy one. That's good for wound cleaning. And then you have angled heads, especially for turtles, for like getting under their crevices, especially if their turtle shell has cracked and we're repairing that turtle shell. And we can keep that clean and keep it fresh. Hard to reach areas, and they pick up eggs really well. If an animal is injured, a lot of times it's, still alive, but the flies start coming on it and laying eggs. And until a rehabilitator is able to get that animal in care and start the care, fly larvae have already started to be settled on that. And so in order to clean that area of the wound, we use those bristles to do that as well. So there's a lot of purposes for them, and there's a lot of use on animals, raccoons, opossum, fox. So any kind of wound care, and for really any reason too.
And just to tap back into, you were saying about the educational outreach, you are sending packets to teach kids about that this is something that they can do to repurpose materials and
Yeah, so another huge part of our mission is, yes, it's the mascara wands, but it's also sustainability, right? And having plastic and reusing plastic and being more plastic conscious. And so even the packaging that comes to us, if you were to send us a wand in a Ziploc bag and a bubble wrap envelope, we'll clean and reuse that plastic bag to make a rehabilitator's pack. So any packaging that comes to us, we repurpose as much as we can and or we recycle. So as an educator, you always want to bring in that whole pollution and plastics thing, and that's part of the curriculum. And so we're creating this whole curricula where we're thinking about, well, we are in the process of creating the packs and finding what works and having a teacher view on it too, and kind of integrate it into the classrooms where they can work on it in a science center or as an addition to the curriculum that they already may have purchased as a school, but as a supplement. And then eventually it's going to spark interest in, children. And eventually, even if we're looking at, right now we're looking at the kindergarten, first and second grade kind of curriculums to get them interested, and then bringing it more into the upper grades with plastics and pollution, a little bit of a heavier topic that dives in deeper for that. But for the little ones, we want to try to get into where they're still, we can use the animals and we can use a coloring page. We're going to create a little book, informational book, like a little coloring book. And all of this is going to help the interest. And so even if they go home and say, oh, mom, dad, at school today, we practiced cleaning on a small plush animal, and this is what it's used for. And then that mom or dad might say to someone else, and they start collecting wands. And then we want to spark interest in children to be conscious aware and have that conversation continue in the home. So it's in its early stages, but we are creating an educational curriculum for that purpose, for both the mascara ones, but also more the sustainability and the pollution and the plastics.
I think it's also very insightful for families to realize, like, there might be a program out there. I don't have to throw all my things away. Maybe I should look it up and see how to reuse mascara wands. And I'm sure you'll have a search engine optimized where you could capture that Google search. But yeah, it's just really insightful to see that reusing mascara wands is available. And I've never thought to look it up. And I think that's part of it, is just giving people the ingenuity to say, hey, think about, maybe it's out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and something as simple as a mascara wand, you may not have already thought twice about how can I repurpose this. You kind of just throw it away. Yeah. But I think we want everyone to look a little deeper in any product and say, okay, mascara wand or this or that, and look for sustainability and reuse.
So you already went over what the wands are best used for. Are they, and you mentioned the toothbrushes. So were the toothbrushes used before mascara wands and like?
No, No, it was just, as a thought, like once we started seeing these mascara wands worked, it was just, to say, okay, something like a toothbrush would not work, because we realized that the smaller it can get in there. So no, they weren't using the toothbrushes, maybe a little bit to like clean the turtle shell, but nothing on the animals because they're a little bit too harsh. And I think that they were trying to figure out as wildlife rehabilitators, what can we use that it's not as dense or as harsh as one. No, they didn't use them. And then just got the rehabilitators thinking like, what can be used? And so then this just, one person tried it and it was like an aha moment. And the next thing you know, here we are as our own 501c3 and all volunteer run organization. And we're looking beyond, the animals. We're looking at the animals first, and we're looking at education, and we're also looking at sustainability. We're looking at wand art. We're looking to build our partners. In the past, we've partnered with L'Oreal and Wet n Wild, those makeup companies, and they have sent us discontinued or slightly damaged products, and then we're able to package those up for the rehabilitators to use. And so we're growing partners in this, and we're letting our partners know, like, these makeup companies, that there is another outlet out there too, that it's also making them think, and they're very sustainable themselves, but just having them know that there's something else out there as an option. We have so many wand raisers, we call them wand raisers, from Girl Scouts to beauty salons to major makeup chains, to Fashion Week in New York, collecting the wands at different places and just shipping them into us. And we've had, junior Miss beauty pageants as part of their community service project, collect them as their community service project, and then they send us videos of them collecting them in their community pre-pandemic. And this became their community project. And being in the beauty pageant field, you've seen a lot of, one-time use of the mascara wands and the actual ones that they would bring in themselves. So it's just building awareness and just thinking about other ways we can use things more than the one time. So yeah, definitely collect them. We're currently on a pause in collecting them right now because of the pandemic. And because we are a volunteer run operation, we want to make sure that we are staying socially distanced. The group down in North Carolina working in the office down there, when the packages come in, we open them. We don't just open them and then just take the wands and put them into a bucket. There's a process that goes through it. There's a form that would come in with them. And on that form, you would, say how you collected, why you collected. And we've gotten so many inspirational comments from people like, thank you for what you do. This is amazing. Who would have thought? So we're inspiring others to think differently. We input that into the system. We have a great system of knowing what countries around the world, like Bahrain and the Czech Republic, we're getting them from everywhere. So we're worldwide. We enter them into the computer and you get a thank you note, either via email or the mail. And although our pause is on in collecting them right now, the best part of that, even though it sounds sad that we're not collecting them at this moment, it gives us a great opportunity right now to work on the distribution aspect of it. Meaning we are working with the wildlife rehabilitators across the country and sending them these packs and sending them this information and having them try it out. And we're getting feedback on that, like what is working and how it's saving animals, and it's how it's helping the care of the animals increase faster, so they're getting better quicker. So even though the collection is stopped just for the moment because of safety reasons in the pandemic, the opposite side of it is flourishing right now. Like our development is really flourishing, our distribution, we're getting these packs ready and out, we're making the phone calls and the contacts, which we've always had, but we've had to focus on both. But now we can focus on getting them out to the rehabilitators worldwide. We've been to Australia. We've sent to 10 different facilities in Australia when Australia had the wildfires a couple years ago. So, I mean, this is global. We have some where we've been working with some people in England too, but Australia went to 10 different facilities during that whole country's huge wildfire situation. So making contacts like that, and then they're talking, to others, and it's just this really cyclical, awesome thing that we're seeing. And now, sadly, with the pandemic, but on the flip side for us, we've been able to make additional contacts and send more out and just get more animals helped. So in a poor situation, it's really worked out on the other side for us.
Good. I'm so glad to hear that it's worked out for y'all in your favor. And yeah, I think a lot of people have really struggled in the pandemic with their distribution because of breaks in supply chains and halts in delivery. But it sounds like for y'all, it's been the exact opposite. This is your heavy distribution time. So for people who want to send mascara wands, but y'all currently aren't accepting collection, when will you start to accept collection again? And also, how should we just collect them in a Ziploc bag? Or like if someone wants to start sending you their old mascara wands, like my mom is currently cleaning out her closet, does she, does
Thank
she
you. We thank you. Send a note. We hope
yeah.
somebody knows from you guys.
Does she need to save those in a Ziploc bag, or would it even be better for her to save those in like a cardboard box, seeing as you will reuse the Ziploc bags? Maybe you probably already have a lot. I'm sure you've never had to buy a Ziploc bag
Nope.
again.
You're right about that. That's part of our sustainability, right? Just reuse.
Exactly. Yeah, I wash out all my Ziploc bags and reuse them all.
So I would suggest that even though we're currently on a pause for accepting them into our post office box right now, please, yes, collect them, because when the pandemic feels that it's safe, where we can get a little bit more people into work and open up those packages and record them and log them properly, we will open it back up this year in 2021. We don't know exactly when yet. We're just waiting to kind of see how, the next couple of months go. And also, we can also mention later about where you can find our information on when the pause would be lifted. But I would say, yes, please collect them, because we want people to be aware of the need for them, and to get the word out that they can be repurposed other than thrown in the trash. We ask again that you clean them with soap and water, maybe a tiny bit of bleach. Make sure they're really dry before you package them up and mail them. They tend to get kind of soggy, and the plastic, if you send them in plastic in a Ziploc bag, get really kind of smelly and wet. So just make sure they're really dry. You can send them in a cardboard box. We definitely would recycle that with the recycling. But please collect them. You can collect them yourself. You can collect them if you know someone that's in a salon. Have a little glass jar out at the salon. Ladies clubs, I know this is not the time that we can do that, but Girl Scouts or ladies garden clubs or anything like that, or your bigger box retail makeup places. So please start collecting and keep collecting, just to keep that awareness out there. And then you can check back on all of our social media platforms when we are going to unpause the pause. But we don't want that to stop. We don't want the awareness to stop. We don't want the collections to stop. We just have to stop the intake at the moment, just for pandemic safety reasons, working in a closed environment. So please collect them and spread the word. I have a little collection jar actually by my side door at my house, and my friends know that they can just pull up the driveway and drop it in the container, and I'll actually clean them. I do keep a bunch here for these purposes of speaking and talking, but yes, please collect them and package them any way that you would like, that you feel comfortable with, that's sustainable. We just ask that the actual brushes are pretty dry, because it just kind of gets sloppy. And then sometimes if all the mascara isn't dried off of it, it kind of has, black water in the bottom. So just to be mindful of the dryness of it, I guess. And they do clean pretty well. You soak them and you can rinse them off, and they come off pretty good.
Okay. So for y'all's collection process delay, it's not so much because like I touched my mascara wand and now I'm sending it to you, like spreading
Right.
germs like that. It's more so because y'all are in the facility together.
Right. Yeah. No, we're not worried about that. When packages come in, we let them sit for 3 to 4 days anyways, which is, a typical guideline from the CDC of just letting the packages sit for 3 or 4 days from external touching. Anything inside would already be, all set, just with external touching. But the process of taking them in and working side by side with someone, even 6 feet apart, and then we have the data entry, we put every single wand person that has sent us wands, whether it's one wand or a bucket of 100, gets entered into our system. So we know by state who percentages by state and in the world, the countries. So there's a lot of data entry that goes with it. And so, like I said, it's not just opening up the package and saying, oh, great, we got 20 and they're this kind, so we put them over here. Like we read, there's a form that you need to download off of our website, Wands for Wildlife. And it just gives you the opportunity to put your name, how you heard about Wands for Wildlife, any notes that you want to add. Like I said, we get some really cute inspirational cards from school children. Oh, environmental clubs too do it, science clubs in the high school. Schools collect them, different kinds of the Girl Scouts, things like that. So also, and people are super generous. Some people will send one wand knowing that they're making a difference, and it makes people feel good, right? So during this pandemic, we need something to make us feel good. Animals, seeing these cute animals all the time, make us feel good, right? Oh, a mascara wand, someone needs a mascara wand for an animal in this pandemic and beyond. That makes me feel good that I can help out somebody. I can do something. I have something to look forward to. And even those people that would send one wand, we get the sweetest notes, and sometimes someone will pop in a $5 bill, and that goes to our overall development, and that will go to our curriculum, and that will go to mailing, or that will go to wand art or something that we're trying to do and build up. So people donate the wands, they donate their beautiful thoughts and sayings that we post on our social media platforms as inspiration and just appreciation for helping the wildlife, and appreciation that it gives someone, some people need a purpose right now, or an extra purpose just to get through the day. And then there are those that also send in a monetary donation to go with it. So all that has to get recorded and thanked and emailed, and like a physical, thank you. So there's a lot behind the scenes, and that's why the pause is happening right now. But please don't pause collecting them because those animals are still going to be out there needing them.
So I have a few questions after hearing all that. So the data collection process, and also first off, that shows really you'll get to see the best side of humanity working in Wands for Wildlife. You'll get to see the very caring, generous side of people, and that they include dollar bills and things like that is really kind and generous. And then the data collection process, so are y'all able to see what countries and what cities are the most populated sent from, or do you have like the top 5 people who always send mascara?
Yeah, I mean, we have it mostly by state and country, and we have groups too. So there are, I'm not sure about individual people if we keep track of it that way, but I know that groups, like we'll do a cohort, like the Girl Scouts, there might be 10 troops across the United States. So we also have it grouped by like, makeup companies or makeup stores, and also the, Girl Scouts, or, a women's club, or so we kind of have a group like that too. So yeah, we do have a lot of data, and in that data we have, I'm just pulling it up right now.
Oh, sure.
California is our top donator of wands at 17.2%. So California, New York looks like they're Pennsylvania is at 9.7%. So California and Pennsylvania and New York, but every single state. And also we have the countries too. And like I said before, I mean, all over the world, and just like the little Slovenia, or the littlest countries you would not think of, like, how did we get finally out there? Like it just has gone viral. So like Bahrain, and it's just like, it's so fun to see the different stamps and the different postmarks and the beautiful printing from people from all around the world, with their penmanship and their appreciation. And each one of them, and I know this is going to sound corny, but each one of them is a gift, because we're looking at where they come from and we get excited. I've opened the packages in North Carolina. I've gone down there pre-pandemic, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is from like, wherever it was. And you should see my face on these videos, and like these gorgeous notes, and people are meticulous and they take their time when it's something that's meaningful. So yeah, it's all over the world, and it's just been such a blessing to see the viralness of it in a positive way. And, ultimately we're helping the animals.
Let's dive into a little bit why the animals need cleaning. So we kind of glazed over some of the different ways the animals would need to be rehabilitated, but yeah, what exactly does that mean, and like what constitutes this animal as needing to be rehabilitated, and who are the rehabilitators?
So rehabilitators can be a single person. You do have to get certified and get training, and you have to be, licensed by the state that you live in. And there's different wildlife licenses to serve different types of animals. You can be just for birds, you can be just for, like just raccoons and skunks, or you could be just for bunnies and turtles. Like there's different rehabilitator licenses you can get with different groups of animals, or you can get multiple licenses to service multiple animals. But usually everyone has a preference when you're a wildlife rehabilitator, because there's one or two that really draw to you. And so some of the reasons why animals would need some rehabilitation would be, again, your fires, your natural disasters, but things that you don't really think about until we speak about it. If you are having a tree in your backyard cut down, and the tree company is cutting the tree down, and they realize there's this gigantic squirrel nest in it, and inside the squirrel nest are the squirrel babies, but the mama's nowhere to be found. So we get some, or rehabilitators will get some, where the babies are in the nest, and the tree cutters will just take that whole, as much as they can of the nest and part of the tree and bring it to a local rehabber, and they'll nurse them with, little syringes of food, special mixes of food, and just get them to a healthy weight, get them into an outside enclosure so they can get, reacclimated with their surroundings, and then release them back into the wild. So be aware if you're cutting down some big pine trees in your backyard. You could have squirrel nests up there. That's where we get some of our orphan squirrels from. Possum, we've all seen a possum hit probably on the road. One of the things about a possum to be aware of is the opossum rehabilitators, they go right for the pouch, right? So there might be little baby joeys in that pouch of the opossum. And so we're going to pull the babies out and do the same thing, feed them with syringes, give them their special diet, and get them back to health, and weigh them after every feeding, and make sure that they're being nurtured, and go to an outside enclosure and then full release. So that being hit by a car would be another one, especially turtles. Turtles can get hit crossing the road and their shells get cracked. And so we need to repair the shells, and we also need to keep those areas clean, with the shells being closed and sealed back together. Also, be aware on your lawn, bunnies have their babies on your lawn. They sometimes make little nests in your grass. And if you're mowing your lawn or you're weed whacking, be aware if you see a different looking kind of tuft of grass, like it looks like it's a little bit dead or a little bit lifted, a little bit different, could be bunnies in there. Sometimes, they've accidentally, may have hit slightly with a weed whacker, and so they just need a couple stitches, or they just need some wound care, and we take them, or the rehabilitators take them, get them back to health. So there are some things like that would happen. The same thing with fox or raccoon that we see that might get hit or injured, or with the nests too, especially with the raccoons. We take a family of baby raccoons because they can't find the mom based on wherever the situation or the disaster might have been. Or, river flooding or something has happened and it's moved a nest from where it's supposed to be. Someone sees it, calls a rehabilitator, and we have a transport system, or they have a transport system that can, get it to the right licensed wild care provider. So we ask that you try not to take care of them, but call your local wild care office in your city or town, and they can get the right rehabilitator out to you, or get you in contact with someone that will be able to transport them to the right place.
I've never thought about calling a wildlife rehabilitator in my local area. I never knew I could do that. I live in Denver, and one day I was walking in a very populated area, but it's also got lots of trees in the Capitol Hill neighborhood, if anyone's ever been to Denver. And it's got lots of trees, a huge park nearby, and I came across a squirrel, graphic warning description, with something like a 10-year-old boy would play with, like a dart that a 10-year-old boy would play with, through its face. And I was like, oh my God. And the squirrel was still alive and it was eating, so it was functioning. And I didn't know what to do. And I was like, there was someone standing next to me, and it was like, should we call somebody? Who do we call? I don't want them to just put the squirrel down, but that would have been good to know, is that
Yeah.
wildlife rehabilitators are available.
Yeah, they are. They are. First call your local police, non-emergency number, and they have all that information there for animals in distress, or your local animal control officer may have that information as well. So yeah, there are all kinds of things that you see and hear and don't think about until we have this conversation. And one of the biggest things, is we like to make people aware of the bunnies in the spring having, their litter on your lawn, and they like the cushy grass, and if the grass is really tall and you haven't cut it in a while, or a section of it maybe you haven't cut in a while, and then the baby bunnies are in there, we just accidents happen, and we fix them up, and we use those wands to keep those wounds clean, and use it for the turtles, even to clean under where they retract their head, if they need some cleaning under there, or if they have a foot injury, claw injury, we can just keep the nails and all that. It's just another one-time way to keep the animal clean and healthy and have a purpose too.
So you also mentioned that you'll do wand art, not wildlife art, but that you'll do
Wildlife with wand art.
right, yeah. Can you tell us more about that?
So we are also doing wand art. And so, we work on the animals with these wands, and the ones that you and I would buy in the store that have, these really colorful tips on them of different brands and different colors. As I am a mascara freak, I have to try the next best mascara that is now on the TV commercial. And so I love the tips of the wands. And some of the tips of the wands are shaped and have the indentations, looks like a leaf, looks like a green leaf. They are the most gorgeous wand tips that you would ever see. And so what we do is we, give them out to local artists and artist groups. And I know that Madison has a picture of our, oh gosh, she's got to be 6 foot by 8 foot owl made only of mascara wands. And it was, very thought out and very meticulous, and with the different colors of the wands, created this gorgeous, gorgeous owl. And it was in the Asheville Museum of Science for quite a few months on display. And it was just such a talking point. And they're glued down, and they pour resin over it. And so it's just this gorgeous, gigantic owl made just of mascara wands. We've had campers at the North Carolina Arboretum make a turtle just with mascara wands. And so we also have a very clever volunteer who has made a chess set out of the tubes of the wands. We also have where we've made flower sprays out of the wands. And it's just so creative. And eventually we like to get more animals onto the bigger platform like the owl, and have that be a feature and, a fundraising type of thing for charity. And we really want to get into the wand art more. So if there's people out there who would like some of the wands that have the colors on them, and if you can post those pictures to give people some ideas, we are really looking forward to the wand art as the next part of repurposing and reusing, and having it be on display in museums or at zoos or at aquariums, and just having people, when you're standing far away from it, you don't realize it's mascara wands. You think it's a painting, or you think it's something that's like 3D. You get up to it and you see the wand, you see the whole wand, the stick and the brush, and then the colors create the design. It's breathtaking. So if we have talented people out there in your in your world, please reach out to us, and we'd love to see and work with you to create and get ideas to create wand art.
Yeah, I have a friend in Denver, and Maggie, if you're listening, I'm talking to you.
Help us out, Maggie.
Yeah, she's an amazing visionary artist, and so I know a lot of visionary artists, the kind that do she does really big eyeballs, and so I'm sure with really bright
that would be
colors,
neat.
Yeah, I would love to challenge her. And it would actually probably be really fitting because she likes to do eyeballs and then you'd have like
Yeah,
eyelashes with the other mascara ones.
yeah, the eyelashes could be the tips. Oh, yes. See, this is what we need. We want that. We want that vision out there. And like, how can this be purposeful in a community? You know, when it's safe for groups to work together again, like, how can this be a community project? How can it help us with Wands for Wildlife, promote us, you know, and then a portion of the proceeds go to, you know, another animal facility, or I don't know. It's still really new and fresh and exciting because there are so many creative people out there.
Yeah, and I don't really want to sound, at the risk of sounding doom and gloom, I am going to say that it might be our only alternative in the future, you know, is to actually, because I know people will do this with like Mardi Gras beads. There's a really good artist in New Orleans who takes old Mardi Gras beads, which people do reuse every year, but
Oh,
there's always more made every year. And so she actually takes beads and makes art out of them. And just, you know, a bunch of other artists like that. But I think our mainstream culture might have to start accepting the fact, like, if you want a nice piece of art, it's probably smarter to get something made out of reused materials at this point rather than buying something brand spanking new.
yeah, and the way the owl is, like I said, just standing at a distance, you would never know what it is. It's breathtaking when you see up close the work and the you know, planning out of like the different variety of colors for the browns, you know, for the wings. Like, just it's not just all brown, you know, it's like this whole variant of colors. And when you really see how many types of mascara wands there are out there and the companies and the varieties, like when you see it on a platform like that, you're like, wow, that's a lot of mascara wands that get thrown away. And
Mm.
that's just in one piece, you know. And so now there's something powerful that's on display, you know, that we own, that that, you know, we can like go forward with and use that as a guide.
Yeah, podcast listeners, you can check out Wands for Wildlife on Instagram, and I'll also be sharing these images on some clips that I create from this podcast episode on my Instagram, Moving with Madison, and I'll keep promoting those, and I'll have them on my feed so you can always refer back to them. And Kelly, where else is Wands for Wildlife located online? Just real quick while we're on that.
Yep, so we are on Twitter at wands with the number 4 wildlife. So our handle on Twitter is at wands number 4 wildlife. Instagram, wands for wildlife. Facebook, wands for wildlife. We have almost 30,000 followers on Facebook. And our website, wandsforwildlife.org, and you can sign up for our e-news to your email, and that will give you sustainability tips, mascara tips, and also it'll be the first to know when our pause is lifted. We also are on Amazon Smile. You can make us your charity on amazon.com/smile for the charity. We also sell swag. We have our Wands for Wildlife t-shirts. We also have our Wands for Wildlife swag on clothes and mugs and masks, and that's for Wanda, Woods, and Waverly. There are 3 mascots, the squirrel, the owl, and the turtle, and we had this great marketing company do our mascots for us. So if you go to our website and sign up for our e-news newsletter, it will link you to our website. The form will also be on our website once the pause is lifted. And so when the pause is lifted, we also will have downloadable, printable wand raiser posters that you can put if you're in a salon or you're collecting it in your office. You can put it on the box so people will know what you're collecting and why. So you can print off that 8.5 by 11 sheet, kind of like a mini poster of the wands. So yeah, we're everywhere. Just type in Wands for Wildlife, FOR, but on Twitter, it's the number 4.
And I know I asked you this at the very beginning, and we've waited to the very end to get to it. But Kelly, how did you get involved in Wands for Wildlife? How did you start? Because you're in Massachusetts, and Wands for Wildlife is based in North Carolina. So how did you start?
I saw the post on Facebook that, you know, this organization was looking for, this wildlife organization was looking for mascara wands for just this purpose we chatted about. And I'm a mascara girl. If I was ever on Survivor, the one thing I'd bring with me would be a mascara. not a knife or a fire starter, but a mascara. So I'm a big mascara fan. So I just started collecting. I put a post out, started a page, opened a post office box, just thought I'd maybe get 20 or 30. It went viral, over 1 million views. I got 15,000 wands within a couple of weeks. And so I partnered with Tashi Brewster, who's our president and president and founder of Wands for Wildlife. And the next thing you know, here I am 2 years later, still partnered and working hard. And it's just for the love of mascara, the love of animals, and just, again, we are the animals only advocates. And I really feel like one person can make a difference, one wand can make a difference. And here we are, just because I collected some wands and it went viral, and they had already started, they already had it. I just kind of pushed it a little quicker than everyone was expecting with such response, but we've been able to carry that over and build on that. And one person makes a difference in whatever you think or do. So follow your heart and work with those animals. And this is why we're here. We're here for each other. We're here for the animals, and just to make it a better place, better world, better environment.
I love that. Thank you so much, Kelly, for being a guest on Eco-Friendly Homes today, and for sharing your story, and for sharing Wands for Wildlife story. And I will definitely start collecting my mascara wands. I don't go through them that fast, but I didn't know that I'm only supposed to use it for 3 months. Otherwise, my hair will grow. So I'm definitely way overdue.
Well, give that one to your mom, and then have your friends start. And yeah, so just thank you so much, and to get our name out there. And we're on a pause. We're not stopped. We're not doing this anymore. We're on pause. It just is because of the pandemic. Please still keep collecting them. Please look at all of our social media platforms, sign up for e-news, and you'll know when we are opened up our mailbox again.
Okay, so e-news from your website is the best to get the notice, and Facebook is where y'all are most engaged online.
Yeah, yep, and and Instagram too, Twitter, we're getting there. And then, if you don't have or use mascara right now or at all, and you still feel like you want to donate, make us your charity on Amazon Smile. And percentage of your Amazon purchases will go right into our funds, and that helps with sustainability, education, initiatives that we're doing, postage, getting things out for artists. Maybe like your friend wants to make an eye.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm definitely gonna run that idea by her. I hope she accepts it. And so, for an artist who does want to make a piece of art out of the wands, we'll just have them email you, or email.
Yeah, email. Go to our website, Wands for Wildlife, and you can contact us through there, or you can send a message via the Facebook Wands for Wildlife, and that will go right to Tashi, our founder and president, and I can go from there. So
Perfect. Thank you so much, Kelly.
Thank you. We're excited. Thank you so much.
Podcast listeners, as always, thanks for being a guest in my eco-friendly home today. I really hope you learned something new, and I hope you find a way to implement this into your life so you too can create your eco-friendly home. As always, I'm available to direct message on Instagram at Moving with Madison. And besides my podcast, I provide services as a real estate change agent in the Denver metro area, specializing in helping you buy, sell, or create your eco-friendly home. Something that this podcast is helping me get better at each and every day. When you come back over, please bring those cookies again. They were really good, and I'll see y'all next time.